Hi, I'm Luke. I'm a sex and love addict. I want to talk about the process for me of working the 12 steps and how that made a difference in my life. I went to my first meeting for sex and love addiction in May of 2011. So by this point I'd had about 6 years of psychotherapy. I'd had a year and a half of yoga. I'd had more than 20 years of Judaism. I'd had virtually an entire life spent within organized religion of one kind or another. I'd had 18 months of Alexander Technique teacher training. I'm a sucker for self-help. I've heard dozens of Tony Robbins lectures. I've read well over 100 of self-help books. I read the book How to Be a Woman twice by Tony Grant. Slept with 40 women in my life. I was Hustler Magazine's Asshole of the Month. So I went to my first meeting and it spoke to me. Even though I'd always had objections to 12-step programs because they didn't fully make sense to me. I thought they were a cop-out from taking responsibility. But I'm frighteningly flexible. When I think something will help me, I don't really care if it doesn't fully make sense. So when I got into Orthodox Judaism, I had all sorts of intellectual objections to Orthodox Judaism where I thought it just did not stand up to the light of reason. But the experience of practicing Orthodox Judaism and living it within an Orthodox Jewish community was so compelling to me, and it spoke to something inside of me which I maybe can't quite put my hands on, that I let go of, well, I didn't allow my intellectual objections to override what I wanted to do. And I've met women who I just thought, not for me, but there's just something so exciting about them that I pursued them anyway. And so with 12-step, I had all these objections, but there was something about the meetings and the people that I met in there that spoke to me.
Do you want me to ask you questions?
Please.
Okay. So who are you talking to? Who are you making the audience?
I think I'm answering Marie's question from a week or 2 or 3 ago about what's it like to work the 12 steps and how did that make a difference in your life.
So again, that's what the stimulus is, but whenever we talk, we have to know who we're talking to. And you can make the audience a person, a friend, you can make them the AA meeting, but you have to know because that determines what you say and how you say it.
Okay, so
And I'm also stopping you, and I want you just again to notice when you're feeling connected and when you're rattling off. And it's okay in the moment to say, I don't even know what to say next. Or, oh, I notice I'm getting in my head. I want, just as a practice, as an exercise, for you to start connecting. And I also want to know moment to moment how you feel about what you're saying. Is it a hard thing to say, I'm an addict? Or is it, I'm an addict, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to talk about it? To just start dealing with what's happening as you're being witnessed. Just an exercise so that you don't get in your head. So what happens to you when you say you're an addict? And what do you think we're thinking? And what do you want us to think or hope that we think?
when I say I'm an addict, I'm living out my program. Because in the program we say...
But what did it take that very first time? And did it get stuck in your mouth, or did you not want to say it?
It was effortless because I will try anything if I think it will help me, even if I don't buy it.
And what's pushing you? Why do you want to do this? Why are you in a 12-step program? What are you motivated by?
Because I progressively realized that I have crippling emotional addictions.
And what do you hope will happen if you change this?
I hope that I will live free.
And what does that look like, as specifically as possible for you to describe?
It means that I'm not doing things that I regret. I'm not doing things compulsively out of...
So what would you be doing?
I would be choosing freely rather than...
But what is choosing freely? To cite that, to make that concrete.
It means that I never sleep with anyone that I regret the next day. Because I'm just like so horny that, I'll go to bed with someone that I know I'm going to regret.
So is it not being needy?
It means not acting in a way that's self-destructive.
Okay, and then what's the good life to you? What would be a happy life?
A good life is where you see clearly and not through the fog of your addictions, through the fog of your lack of awareness.
So what would be your dream life, if you could describe that? And I'm also going to ask you to take your hands out of your pockets. And notice what happens when you do that.
I'm not as protected.
Okay, and then what happens?
I'm more free.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck it, I don't like it.
What?
Taking my hands out of my pockets.
Right. Because?
I just fucking don't like it.
Because it's your safety.
It's my safety.
Okay.
Like, I'm getting up here, I'm willing to spill this,
Yes.
and this, but I really want to have my hands in my effing pockets.
Yes.
Terry Silverman.
Okay. But I'm doing it for a reason.
That's okay, and I'm going with it.
Okay. And just to notice and observe, so that's exactly right. Okay, so what's the good life? What's the dream life? And what just happened?
Well, I stopped. I had answers.
Okay. But I also,
I stopped my initial answers and let go of them.
Okay, but just now I thought I saw tears.
Oh, perhaps.
Do you know what came into your head? Or what
I
touched
did
you?
have a thought, and I lost it.
Okay.
So, it's the idea that you can create a life where you build things instead of creating a life where you know this is all going to end horribly.
So
I've kind of gone through my life knowing that this is all going to end horribly.
So doom?
Yeah, I guess there's a feeling of doom.
Okay.
But everyone always feels burned by me.
And then what's beautiful? What would be the beautiful life?
I did about 3 hours of productive writing yesterday. If I'd done 5 hours of productive writing, that would be a beautiful life. I had all day yesterday.
So is it
there was nothing I had to do.
So
if I
is it
just done 5 or 6 hours of writing, that would have been a beautiful life, no matter anything else. But instead, I only did about 3 hours or so of writing.
So is a beautiful life producing?
If it's producing beautiful writing, yeah.
Okay.
And then on par with that is time with people I love.
Okay.
But I have this fear that life is passing me by. Because this is the 6th night of Hanukkah, and I've not gone to one Hanukkah party. I go home, and my feet hurt, my plantar fasciitis has come back, and I don't want to go out, I don't have any spare money, I'm kind of tired, and my boss gave me a 32-inch high-def big screen. So now I can watch Netflix on my 32-incher.
Yes.
Like before I had just a 22-incher and it wasn't high-def.
So has life gotten better?
Well, no, because I'm sitting at home watching Netflix thinking I should be living life.
Okay.
And it's it really sucks that I gave up the porn. like porn would look so magnificent on like 32-inch high def.
Right.
Like I could get all the nasty porn that I want,
Right.
and I could watch it in high def.
Right.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen porn in high def.
Yeah.
It would probably be, 5 times better than porn just on like a regular 22-inch
So
monitor.
is this just taunting you, this gift?
No, it's cool, but I know with my intimacy disorder, it's like another excuse to avoid contact with people. My boss said to me today, I know that you like to watch. Like, you don't want to talk to people on the phone. You just want to send them emails and send them faxes.
Mm-hmm.
You just like to watch and jerk off. He wants me to like interact with people. And I just want to like email them and fax them.
Do you think he's like you? Do you think that's why you recognized it?
No, he's cool with talking to people. He's very aggressive.
Did you feel judged?
No, I thought he was right.
Okay.
I thought he was right. It's like, yeah, I don't want to, like in some ways, my social isolation and intimacy problems are getting worse. In some ways I feel that. Like as I'm getting older.
Do you think it's maybe that you're more aware of it?
Could be that. It's like I go to synagogue and like I want to go home.
Because?
Well, if there's not, usually or often there's one person there that I really want to talk to. But if he's not there, often there's no one that I'm dying to talk to. And so I'm just there hour after hour, and I really don't care about the prayers. I mean, I know I do them or should do them, but I don't care about the prayers. But I'm there like hour after
So
hour,
what makes
and all sorts of other people are interconnecting, and there's no one there that I want to talk to.
So what
like that
makes you
sucks. I'm there
observant?
for 4 hours, and there's no one there I want to interact with, and then I eat my lunch with all the old men who don't speak English.
So what makes you observant? What makes you do that then?
I know it's good for me.
How is it good for you?
Well, it gets me out of the house.
Okay.
And it gets me, like this could be a terrific way to connect with people, Orthodox Judaism. It can be a terrific way, and it has been in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know where like the wheels came off in my Orthodox Jewish journey, but it's like my vehicle's definitely kind of grounded, like all the wheels are off, and I'm just kind of up on blocks.
Is this your tribe?
Yeah.
How are they your tribe? What do you all have in common?
A way of life, certain ways of thinking and practicing, sets of rituals, certain text.
How are they not your tribe?
Well, they're not my tribe if I go there and there's no one that I really want to talk to. I mean, that sucks. And that happens a lot. Like it used to be, I went to synagogue and there was like half a dozen people who I was dying to see. Like something's gone terribly wrong, because that's how it used to be.
Did those people leave?
No, I got pushed out. I got pushed out of the places where I made myself a pariah, where I liked a lot of people. They ended up feeling bad. They pushed me out. Yeah, something's wrong now, because often there's no one that I really want to talk to.
So it's lonely there.
Yeah, and it's like even lonelier because there are people all around.
Right. Keep going.
So let me tell you about how God's transformed my life. So, in October of 2007, I had $6,000 in the bank, no debt. And then I quit writing on the porn industry. And so then I went into a lot of struggles because I didn't want to go get a regular job because I'm a genius. I was talking to my therapist this week. I was telling her I'm a genius. I'm a genius when it comes
Is it
to...
because you know your IQ or you decided that?
No, it's not. No, it's because, I'll tell you what. But let me just tell you where I'm a genius. I'm a genius in writing and public speaking. And how do I know that? Because my mother, when she was carrying me in her stomach, she confided to my father this one is going to grow up to do something great for God. And my parents told me that a lot as I was growing up. And then when I got the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, they realized they created a monster.
They did?
Yeah.
Do you blame them?
No, I don't blame them. But like I've always had that conviction that I was a genius, that like I was slated to do great things for God. And then when I started writing at about age 8, I got enough positive affirmation on that I knew that I was a genius writer. And then my dad was a genius public speaker, and I had the same temperament as my dad, so I knew I could be a genius public speaker like him, because I saw him go all around the world, and he'd speak, and he'd mesmerize crowds, and people would love him, and they'd give him things, travel and gifts and hotel stays and this and that. And I saw him how he just like mesmerized people. And I thought, I'm better than my dad. Like I could be a better public speaker than my dad, and I'm wiser and smarter than he is in many ways.
What would he say about that?
He wouldn't agree.
What would he say?
He would get a wry smile. He might, if he felt I needed encouragement, he might try to encourage me.
What would he say?
Oh, Jesus, my dad's like God. What would God say? I can't imagine telling my dad that I'm a better public speaker than he is.
So what would he say to you?
Well, he wouldn't need to say anything. He'd say, maybe you are, and go out and do it, and good on you. I just can't imagine saying that to my father.
And so you said, I'm a genius. I've been told to be of service to God. And then you also said your father is God.
Yeah.
So I just want you to notice the irony.
Yeah. So I know I'm a genius, and so that entitles me to be...
But where's the service to God come in?
Well, that's coming. That's his play. But because I'm a genius, that entitles me to a lot. That, like when I get girlfriends, they will often volunteer to clean where I'm at so that I can do my genius work on the computer.
They volunteer?
Yeah. I don't assign them that, but they volunteer.
So you think it's because you're a genius? You don't think it's because they love you?
Well, they love me, and they want to support my genius. And and I get all my girlfriends to read my books and my essays, and I read it aloud to them. Also...
And so since you brought it up, and again, me just questions as it's coming, so is there a correlation between narcissism and believing you're a genius?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so then how do you suss that out?
Well, I sussed that out in that well, genius is just a metaphor for solid rock-like confidence. I have absolute confidence in my writing ability and in my public speaking ability.
Okay, because we wouldn't know that, but that's the way you're using that word.
So that means that there's nothing that anyone can say or do that can shift that confidence in any way. Ever since I've been about age 8, I've had absolute rock-like confidence.
What was that first moment then of being that confident? What did you do?
Third grade, we were sitting on a bridge over a creek, and we were told to write. And so I couldn't get the writing to work. I just wrote down various thoughts and then read it aloud. And when I saw how everyone was moved and they called it a poem, I thought, wow, I'm a genius.
Okay.
And then I've had 5,000 of those experiences over the course of a lifetime.
So
then I know I'm a genius.
Praise and confirmation and affirmation and validation.
Yeah, my writing.
Okay.
And less
Did
frequently.
your father teach you anything about speaking or writing? Or did you copy him?
Not directly. Yeah, I copied him in the sense that my life is like a deconstruction of everything that my father stands for. So I've read my father's PhD theses, I've read some of his books, I've heard endless hours of his sermons, and so everything that I do and write and say is a deconstruction of what he does.
Has his style impacted you?
Yeah, I want to be like the opposite.
What's the opposite style, since we don't know what his style is?
You can't climb to heaven up the shaking sides of Mount Sinai. Salvation is not something you earn through good deeds. It's a gift from God. It's given freely to the whole world. That's my father.
So is he like a gospel preacher, like a Baptist preacher?
Yeah, he's a Christian evangelist.
Okay, but effective.
But effective.
And charismatic. And powerful. Did you ever try to do that?
No. Oh, creeps me out, that stuff.
Why?
Creeps me out.
Why?
Well, I think it's a fraud.
You don't think it was genuine what he was saying?
Oh, I think he genuinely believed it.
So what creeps you out?
The over-theatricality, the giving people what they want, assurance of their heavenly salvation. I mean,
so
that's
again, what's
narcissistic.
authentic and what's fake?
Well, I want nothing to do with what my father does. Mine's the opposite. I deconstruct my father.
But what's the opposite?
Well, the opposite is what I'm doing.
Which is what? I want you to define it.
It's honest. It's self-aware.
And you don't think he's doing that?
I'll let other people judge.
But I want to know what your perspective
No,
is.
I don't. I can't stand that theatrical evangelical Christian.
Does he believe what he's saying?
Yeah, absolutely believes.
So what's the fake part? Is it hard to put your finger on it? Is it what he represents?
The fake part is this preaching, and this is the way to heaven. This is the path to salvation, and it's all about love and forgiveness, and putting your faith and trust in God, and letting go of resentment and fear.
How's that different than the 12 steps?
The 12 steps sounds very similar to that. Very similar. It's almost identical to the way I was raised. The difference is between preaching this message and living this message.
So it's not being forced.
So the 12 steps, there's no preaching.
But it's more that you have your own
There's
will
sharing.
to choose it.
You share where you came from, what you struggled with, and what you found useful. There's no
Okay.
preaching in the 12 steps.
Okay.
You know,
And love and
this is the way to
forgiveness,
heaven.
would you identify that as Judaism or not?
Yeah, there's plenty of that in Judaism and Christianity, but it's entirely one thing to preach about love and forgiveness, and it's a completely different thing to embody it in your behavior.
Okay. So there's interesting juxtapositions then between the Seventh-day Adventist, the 12-step, and Orthodox Judaism as it applies to how you navigate through it. There's interesting ironies and parallels, just in your reactions. So could you feel a difference in this, being with us, talking about this stuff, with where you thought you were going to go when you first got up? And I don't know if you were able to, if you might have to just look at it, but could you feel something different of being connected?
Yeah, fuck it. It's more connected since you started asking questions.
Okay.
And I was going to be really awesome, too.
You're going to be what?
Really awesome. Like practically genius.
Right. And no doubt. So I'm helping to take the mask off. And so it should feel uncomfortable and vulnerable. With the hands in the pocket, everything reads on stage. And so I don't want that to be your default. And it's really good then that it does take away some of the safety and the protection. So there may be times when you do it, but you as the performer have to be really judicious about when you're doing it to make a point. because it's not Luke up there, even though it is. And you can also exploit it about when you can start noticing when do the hands want to go in the pockets. Because when I'm getting you to really tell these really charged stories, your whole body changes, your whole face changes, and you're in the moment. And it's hard. But I just want to see if it's registering. And also where you don't know where we're going to go, and I don't know where we're going to go. And then we get much more honesty, much less in the head. Anything that surprised you or that you discovered in this investigation? And anytime you talk about your father, it's gold. Because there's such strong reaction. You can decide if you don't want it in the show. Absolutely valid. But just to notice. And it's really good sometimes when you don't have the words. Because that means you're letting go of the control. So what surprised you?
Oh, fuck, I thought I was connected from the beginning, but I obviously wasn't. Fuck.
But so what surprised, so that surprised you?
Yeah, I thought I was fucking honest and fucking, laying it out, what was important.
Okay.
And I thought...
And so there's a difference. So you were being honest in the thoughts. And this is now dropping into the body. And then really feeling it moment to moment. So don't feel like you were doing anything wrong, but it's just giving you a more connected experience that you couldn't do alone. And it's great that it does register, that you can feel the difference. And so we want to give the character as many colors. So there will be times when he's totally in his head and he's talking from there. But just so you know that that's what it feels like when you're in the moment and you're connected.
Ah, fuck. Intimacy is so fucking hard. It just fucking drains me.
So that's what it becomes for you.
Fuck, yeah.
So that's a really interesting then insight, that being connected is then being intimate. Because when we're vulnerable on stage, as you've heard me say, it's powerful and it really then connects the audience. And it's not easy.
I thought I was fucking vulnerable at the start, but I fucking wasn't compared to this.
Okay, so it's going to a much, much deeper place.
That was safe. Like, I could have just gone, I could have gone for hours in that safe place, give you all
But
the
you're
reason.
ready to go to the next step. Because the first thing you said, you're a good talker. And to remember what you said out here about what brings you in with Michael. It's not easy. So find, all the grappling that you're doing, because I really am taking off the mask. So that's a hard, scary thing. So actors know there's something called a private moment on stage, and it's excruciating. You barely do anything as the character, so it's just this naked moment. So that's kind of the experience that you're having now. So just to trust, yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Yeah, because I want you to not go to the safety places. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So you can just notice and use this too, that push and pull. How scary is it? What is intimacy? What is connection? And so these are kind of the deepest things that the character is grappling with. Because I know you've talked about and written about wanting to connect and that loneliness. And then when you are intimate, what happens and how scary that is. And so sometimes that thing that we want is too scary for us. So dramatically, that's really powerful. So would it be helpful to get
Sure.
feedback and anything that would be helpful or feel good?
Yeah, anything that you want to know more about, anything that takes you in, anything that takes you out.
Okay.
Something that there might not be anything there. If your dad's God, and you want to be the opposite of your dad, what does that make you? I mean, I just find when you started talking about your dad, this whole epic story started to unfold, where it's not about the 12 steps, and it's not about Orthodox Judaism, it's about somebody trying to escape from the shadow of their father. And having been raised in Seventh-day Adventism, you seem to have been on this journey throughout your life to find something to replace that, to give you those structures. And this is just from what you said, like, I don't know. The other thing I noticed is when you, the one time you became physically invested in everything that you were saying is when you were fantasizing about what porn would look like on that TV. Man, suddenly I can see the porn in HD. And I'm fascinated by the tension between, like, you've given up porn, but that doesn't mean the desire to see it is gone. That means that you're exercising ridiculous amounts of self-control not to put porn on that 32-inch screen. And I want to know what that is. I want to know more about that because, man, you'll see it on the video. You lit up like a 5-year-old on Christmas. You're like, holy shit, porn. I've never seen porn in HD. What would porn look like? You could do a whole 10-minute monologue on how amazing porn would look, but you don't watch porn. But oh my God, the TV is right there, and you're sitting at home.
And this is the gift.
And this is the gift that was given to you, and all it would take is like 3 seconds to type in the thing, and then there's porn. So what's stopping you? And you'll see it on the video, man. It's beautiful. It's hilarious and like kind of heartbreaking. And I think that's what Terry's got. Like that's the stuff that lies underneath the I'm a sex and love addict. I know what that means is you see a 32-inch HD screen TV and you fantasize about porn. I can watch porn. God damn, it would look good. That's the difference between I think I'm Luke and I'm an addict, and like seeing what that means. Does that make sense? But it was cool. It was really cool to see that come out.
I also I wanted to see you doing the father more. Becoming him.
Yeah. Portraying him.
Yeah. Because I feel like you're, as uncomfortable as it might be, this is like you have to have the rug ripped out from under you in order to get up and make sense of all of this. It's uncomfortable, but it's also exhilarating. Why else are you doing it? And I feel like you're beginning to launch yourself, like what you were talking about earlier.
But the stuff about being
embodying
his father takes you in.
It takes me in, and I'm seeing that, like what you're describing. Yeah, I want to see more. I want to know if, would you portray your mom? Would you? Your father, I want to, and also all the similarities. Like, what is your?
Because he's a character you know better than anybody. You've studied him,
Right.
as a scholar. All the buttons that are pushed about your father, his charisma, his power, etc. So again, you can decide, but it's really powerful when we watch it. Any other thoughts?
I was also I'm taken in by. I've never been to a something anonymous meeting before, but when you were doing your father, I thought, I wonder what a leader is like at some of the 12-step groups. Just because you were making all those parallels, and I thought, I wonder if that would be interesting to do, or if that would be interesting for you.
You made a point to bring out the distinction of the asshole of the month for Hustler magazine. I mean, I don't know if that was your past life, but that might be kind of interesting to know that was then, and what you did to get that distinction.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to know about that. Yeah.
How many people can say that? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what kind of exclusive club? What is the criteria? And is
What
there
did
a
you do
pride?
right there? And,
Yeah. Good.
I'm assuming
Good.
that's part of your past and it's not happening
Good.
anymore.
Good.
It would be kind of interesting to know. Not for me, of course, but.
And also that moment when I said, what would your father say? That was another really striking moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he said something that surprised me, that he was just very nurturing about it. Oh, if you said this to him. But that was a moment when you got totally startled and you really dropped into it. And then you said he'd have a wry smile, and you had that. That was just such a real moment. So I want you to really congratulate yourself. Big leap. Big, big leap tonight. And the discomfort means, the discomfort is in direct proportion to the risk that you took.